this is, I want to share, this picture is Sarcha Kunga Jambo or Sarcha Lama Sarchaba or Sarcha Takpa Jansen. So just want to share this picture with all of you because of today we're going to teach the text written by this guy. So just so that you know what he was kind of like white yogi. Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for coming teaching. And good to see all of you again. I hope you're having a great life with whatever you're doing. And as you know, before you receive the teachings, the very first thing is to create the right motivation, because whenever you receive teachings or whatever practice you do, it depends on your motivation. Whether something is virtuous or non-virtuous depends on the motivation. Very important to know that. And the purpose of practice and receiving the teaching is not for just our own happiness, but for the sake of all sentient beings, which means it is sort of in order to save them from suffering in any way we can, mentally, physically, emotionally. So when you receive teachings, what you need to do is you must watch your behavior and your motivation, investigate your motivation. If your mind is disturbed by all these sort of worldly things, then you cannot practice, right? So therefore, it's important, let the body be relaxed, let the mind rest in the present moment and focus on the teaching and correct your motivation. And remember to begin with a positive attitude, maintaining sort of kindness and openness towards both yourself and others. So this is important. If your motivation and your attitude and attending this kind of teaching is for your authentic Dharma practice, then your motivation must not be influenced by negative emotions, such as we're going to talk today, attachment and selfishness. So this is especially the case because, as you know, the teaching that I will give you today is belong to the Mahayana teachings. So our motivation should be also governed by the altruistic aspiration of benefiting others. So we just started this teaching for attachment. We have to, I will do my best, you will do your best. Samsara is filled with all this distraction and confused mind. and dominated by ignorance. So cultivating kindness and have a good motivation is very useful for meditation, since it provides great meaning and beneficial. So you need to try to create or bring everything as a sport for your meditation, because if your if the whole environment becomes sort of part of your meditation, then you feel there's no separation. That's why usually we create a beautiful meditation shrine room. You have a meditation cushion, meditation table. Then you sometimes listen to meditation music. You also burn sort of incense and candles, and you offer in sort of beautiful flowers, etc. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you experience, if you can sort of create the whole your environment part of your meditation, sometimes it helps you to relax with openness, and you feel everything becomes sort of meditation, means no separation. It takes away your worldly sort of this ordinary mind when you have sort of that kind of circumstance. So it's helpful, and if this is helpful, then why not? Uh, but if you it's not necessary though, if you don't sort of especially consider yourself as a Buddhist practitioner, but you have some sort of interest in Buddhist meditation, then you don't need, as I said, you don't need create all of these things, and you also don't have to cultivate this sort of initial motivation either. You can just listen to the teachings and develop your knowledge. Okay. But if you are a serious sort of Buddhist practitioner, you have to use all these methods that sort of really helps you relax your mind and body. So therefore, we have all this sort of Buddhist shrine on the stage, and all of this helps you. It's the purpose is to help in your meditation, nothing else. Okay, so that's that's all I wanted to say before start this teaching. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the topic. Today we're going to begin our teachings on the pardon from the four attachments, written by Lama Satyaba. Sometimes they call it Lama Satyaba, or sometimes Satya Takpa Johnson. So I would like to share these teachings with all of you. But first of all, I would like to tell you a little bit of the history of this teaching and the lineage of sort of, not in detail, but the Satya, Satya Takpa Johnson. It's very important to understand the lineage and the writer of this text before you study this teaching. So a very famous master called Kunchuk Jarbo, who was the father of Sarchatakpa Johnson, and who also built the first Sarcha monastery at a place called Sarcha in central Tibet. Sarcha, the tradition. Sarcha means Sa means actually earth, and Kya means grace. gray earth. So this name sort of comes from a grayish sort of landscape in that area where he built the monastery. So that's why they call it Satya. As many of you know, in Tibetan Buddhism, there are four major sort of traditions, right? Nyingma, Garjit, Gelug, and Satya. So this teaching is belong to the Satya tradition. But, we could say that this teaching is common to all the Mahayana teachings of Buddhism, That's why this teaching become very popular and common. And as you know, we have common teachings like this kind of common teachings from all these traditions. For example, Nyingma, the main teacher of Nyingma tradition is Longchenpa. And he has Longchenpas called three precious mala of four dharmas. And then Gelug, we have, three principles of path from Lama Tsongkhapa. Then we just finished Garjit, four dharmas of Gambopa. And then we have this for pardon for attachment. So these are very short, actually, just like four lines like that. But it's very sort of, we call it pithy instructions, oral instructions. What does pithy instruction mean? It means like easy to understand, but give you the point, the main point, like the commentaries and Buddhist philosophy. These are very difficult, right? You have lots of sort of in detail sort of informations of that, but instruction, pithy instruction, is easy that's why for Dharma practitioners really need sort of get these instructions because it's easy to practice, but the essence, they give you the point, the essence. So therefore, I already have the teaching, the three principles of Lama Tsongkhapa. We have this, and we have the four dharmas Gambopa. Now we have this. I think I might teach you also the precious mala of the four dharmas of Longchenpa later, so that we have all these common sort of teachings. It doesn't matter, Nyingma, Garjit, whatever, it doesn't matter. So the teaching is very good for Buddhist practitioners, Buddhist sort of Dharma practitioners, okay? So anyway, and then now the history, the lineage, when the father of the Sarchitakpajan's father, Koncho Jarbo, right? Kon means their lineage. So Koncho Jarbo, the founder of the Sakya monastery, when he passed away, his son was still very young, I think 12 years old. So his mother realized that her son needed a special teacher. And at that time, the most well-known teacher was called in Satya tradition, at that time, called Wari Lodzawa, who was also the Satya lineage. And when Konchok Jarbo passed away, this teacher took care of the monastery for, I think, many years, and at least like 8-9 years until his son grew. So this teacher also became Sarcha Takpa Johnson's sort of personal teacher. And then he suggested that since you are the lineage holders of Satya family, you are the son of great master Koncho Jarbo, the founder of Satya lineage, and belong to very blessed sort of family, the holder of Satya tradition. So he said to the Dr. Johnson, he was very young that time. So you are not like just an ordinary child, but you are the lineage holder become, So you need to study teaching and practice. Uh, that's actually we have to do, right? So these days it's very different. Somebody recognized you, the reincarnation of this and this and this, and then first you need to do is this time, this like 20 whatever first century, this modern time. Then they first they teach how to speak English or how to speak Chinese. Many years spent on that, and then maybe go to monasteries. That's not how you do it. The ancient time, when you have this kind of important child or person, first you have to practice. You have to practice Buddhism, and you have to meditate. That's the first thing, right? So he did that. I mean, um, he said you need to teach him. You need to study teachings, practice, and then his teacher, like his personal tutor, told him like, in order to study the teachings, you need to develop your wisdom, right? Wisdom, the wisdom is essential. For that reason, you have to practice Manjushri. The Manjushri means the manifestation of all the Buddha's wisdom, So this teacher gave him the initiation of Manjushri and all the teachings related to Manjushri practice, and asked him to do a meditation retreat, like when he was, I think, 13 years old at that time. And then he entered a meditation retreat of Manjushri practice. And after 6 months of his practice, he really sort of focused on practice Manjushri. And he has all these instructions and initiations, all of that. So after that, he experienced a sort of vision of Manjushri. That happened if you really focused, practice. And then he received not only that, but he received these instructions. It's called pardon from the four attachment, directly from Manjushri. Okay, that's why these teachings are important and very famous, especially according to such a tradition, and this teaching is called Shinba Jidder in Tibetan, which means pardon from the four attachment. So the Tibetan Shinba Je means four, Je means four, Shinba means attachment. So four attachments. What are they? They are, you will see in the text here, right? So if you are attached to this life, you are not a Dharma practitioner. Okay, that's the first attachment, Shinba. And if you are attached to the samsara, you do not have renunciation, the worldly life. If you are attached to worldly life, you do not have renunciation. Second. Third is if you are attached your own sort of happiness or your own sort of self sort of interest, you do not have bodhicitta mind. If the last one, if there is a grasping, self-grasping, you do not have the great view. This we call four attachment. It's very short, 4 lines, but it's very, very meaning, and it's very like the essence of the teachings here. So you should remember that these 4 lines are the main topic, and therefore it's called the Shinbai Jidder or four attachment. That's directly from Manjushri, right? That's what we call instruction. But I also want to teach you the whole commentary of these 4 lines for attachment. It's also written by Sarchal Thapa Johnson himself. So you will have more sort of that I'm going to share this commentary. But so I'm going to teach you all of that. So now in Tibetan Shimba means attachment, right? Or desire, okay? So Shimba is at the root of our emotions, right? As you know, it is a powerful emotion, because as long as we have attachment, our mind is not free. Mind is not free, and we are not going to be free from anxiety, fear, and all kinds of this sort of suffering if our mind is not free. When Satya Tokpa Johnson received these 4 lines, he immediately understood that these 4 lines contained the meaning of all the teachings of Buddha. And through his meditation, he developed profound sort of realizations, and based on these 4 lines of Manjushri, as I said, he wrote the commentary, which is, he's explaining how to practice these 4 lines. That's the commentary, how to practice these 4 lines. That is this is a small text, but according to the Satya tradition, it contains the essence of the entire teachings of Buddha. So this teaching has become the basis for all of the mind training teaching in the Satya tradition. Okay. If somebody you are belong to such a tradition, this is very, very important teaching. This is how you practice. This is how you practice Buddhism. East, West. The Buddhists came to West not very long, right? And lots of people really practice Buddhism, but there are lots of confusion, so there are lots of other things we talked about last time, the 4 dharmas of Gampopa. So if you really want to sort of Tibetan Buddhist, like the Dharma, authentic Dharma practice, this kind of teaching you need to study, you need to practice. Not like it's some teachings also we have in Tibetan Buddhism, like related to the Tibetan people, which is really, there are lots of talking about the courtiers and all of this kind of prayers and pujas and all of that. But this, nothing that this gives you, actually not necessarily for Tibetan, Buddhist practitioners, but it's good for everybody. This is the problem in our life. So therefore, it's very important. Of course, through this practice, you will be able to reach enlightenment and understand the meaning of these 4 lines will bring great realizations, for sure, for sure. That's why I want to teach, this great, profound teaching to all of you, and practice, and now the actual explanation of this text is divided into 4 sessions. They are being attached to this life, right? Being attached to samsara, being attached to your own self-interest, and being attached to the view. So that's what we call Shenbaiji, or 4 attachments, okay? And then Tibet, that's Shenbaiji, right? And then Shenbaiji Dal. Dal in Tibetan, Dal means actually free from. Dal means free from, okay, or separate from attachment to this life alone, separate, free from attachment to samsara. So that dal means apart, apart from, actually it says, right, apart from the four attachment. Therefore, this text is about how to free from oneself from these four attachments. Therefore, these are called instructions on freedom from the four attachments. And these instructions are like in the Karjit lineage, like Milarepa's son. Milarepa's son arose sort of naturally out of his sort of deep experience of meditation and realization. Therefore, they were sort of spoken without the need to prepare. So they were sort of spontaneously and fluently from his realization that arose through his practice. That's what we call Tejo teachings, instructions, revealed teachings. So this will happen when your experience of meditation and realization, your realization grow. This kind of happen. In the same way, this son of Sarcha Trungpa Jansen is from his own experience while meditating on the four lines of Manjushri. So it's these teachings are not just like ordinary words, blessed. These teachings are so profound. That's why. Therefore, these teachings are very important, very beneficial for Buddhist practitioners like us. It's for this reason that we will use Sarcha Trungpa Jansen's precious teachings to understand the meaning of sort of Manjushri's four lines instructions. And we should try to practice them as much as we can, right? So that we may eliminate attachment, okay? So that's very important. Now, that's a general sort of, what do you call it? Short explanation of the the history of this sort of teaching and the lineage. Now the teaching, in the first line of the commentary of Trungpa Jansen, okay, I'm going to just, you see, I hear you here the text, okay. So this is not the first line of Manjushri's root text, okay. Make sure you understand that. This is the first line of commentary of Trungpa Jansen. And that it says, I put it in numbers, so you take a look at the number 1. It says, may the kind teacher and compassionate Yidam deities, those in whom I take refuge from the depths of my heart, grant me your blessings, I pray. Kwadenchenji lamatan, tukjichenji Yidam la, nyani chaps, chilakchi dangla hinji labdaso in Tibet. So here, he pays homage to his most sort of kind root teacher or the spiritual master, and also to the most compassionate deities. And it is very important because he is actually asking for the blessings of spiritual masters and deity, Yidam deity, in order to succeed in sharing his realization with this text. By the way, this text, Sarcha Trungpa Jansen wrote this text 900 something years ago. Okay, we're talking about a teaching that came from 900 years ago. So it's amazing. Still more and more, this teaching still alive, and more people interested in practice. That's why he, um, he asked, the blessings from the spiritual masters and deities, that this is the blessing. So he succeed, received from his lineage and masters. So um, this is how that it is based on the blessings he has received from the lineage holders. This is why whenever you do something like practice or meditation, first you take refuge and pay homage, you know, um, from your heart. So here, actually, that the spiritual masters, the kind root teachers, that means, right? But also he said compassionate deities. What is deity? I mean, many of you are Mahayana practitioners, what does deity mean. But if some people are new here today, deity is yedam in Tibetan, yedam, two words, yedam, meaning yet means mind, okay? Tam is actually commitment. Tam means Tibetan, tam means commitment. So at this point, like spiritual commitment, okay? So the essence of deity practice or yedam practice is commitment, okay? So when you whatever you practice, like deities, Buddha Shakyamuni is a deity, Mama Sambhava is a deity, Tara is deity, your root teachers are deity, so means like when you thinking about them and in front of them, you make this commitment. That's what we call the yedam practice, deity practice, nothing else. I mean, there are outer deity, inner deity, secret deity, all of that. We have that, but literally, deity is yedam. Yedam means, spiritual. You make commitment with your mind, ordinary mind, spiritual commitment. You say, please grant your blessings, right? Means like you are thinking of them, and then you make commitment in front of them. That's also take vows. That's all, everything, these things. So for example, once you start to doing something or practice, you're not going to give up until you finished, right? No matter how difficult. And sometimes your meditation is not good, right? You can't focus, and your mind is all over. At that time, you need to practice deities. Okay, at that time you need to ask for the blessings of deities and the spiritual masters. That means you're making sort of recommitment and make your mind stronger. Okay, I can do this, no problem. I will never give up, no matter how difficult, until I finished, until I reached my goal. I can do that, So this commitment that you're making is helping your meditation will work better. Okay? That is what deity means. That is what you ask in the blessing, so that you can make a commitment, so that you can continue, keep going, keep going, keep going. Dharma practice is not easy, but you never give up because of your yedam deities, blessings, commitment, That is deity practice, okay? Nothing else. And then we have deities, all this kind of like two heads and four arms, all of this kind of, that is Vajrayana teachings. We are not there yet. Don't worry about that. So that there is no such thing as a deity as has like this all four arms or forehead, whatever. But there is each deity has a meaning, different meaning for different people. But we are not there yet. So we're practicing Mahayana, right? So the Mahayana point of view, daily practice means your commitment, your mind, make sure never give up. That's daily practice, okay? That's what he's doing here. Okay, that's that. And then now the next, the stanza, number 2, it says, behavior that goes against the Dharma must be stopped. Oh boy, this is difficult, right? I mean, we have to, behavior that goes against Dharma must be stopped. And so, in order to practice the Dharma correctly, I request you to listen to this instruction on pardon from the four attachments. The way he wrote this, I can see where he came from, in Tibet, So he said, behavior that goes against the Dharma must be stopped. You have to remember this topic. Meaning, as a Dharma practitioner, having good motivation, having good conduct, this is what we must have at all times. Okay? If we consider ourselves as a Dharma practitioner, okay, not just a practitioner, but Dharma practitioner, then this is what we need. This is the Dharma practice, nothing else. Dharma practice depends entirely on our good intentions and good conduct. That's why he's going to explain how to practice discipline. Okay? But we usually, when we check our motivation and our conduct as ordinary people, it's almost impossible not to have thoughts and actions that are not against the Dharma. Almost all the time, our actions, our motivation, that is really against the Dharma. But still, we consider ourselves as a Dharma practitioner. We're not Dharma practitioner as long as our mind, our conduct, and our motivation against the Dharma. We're not Dharma practitioner, but we consider Dharma practitioner. That's ego, right? That's ego right there. I am a Buddhist Dharma practitioner. No, you're not. You are not. You're not Buddhist Dharma practitioner, but your ego boost. I am a great practitioner. I have a compassion mind. I have all of this and that. So when you see, you can check. You can check your mind. So I think we should investigate ourselves. Why, as a Dharma practitioner, we do things that are not Dharma? Why? Right? Automatically, we do things every single day in our life that are not Dharma. And we should investigate. We should find out, is it possible to change these things? Is it possible to have a mind that not against the Dharma, free mind, so that our actions not against the Dharma? But we usually don't want to investigate ourselves, because when we don't want to see our actions that are against the Dharma, we don't want to know that. We want to sort of continue, let our mind dominate by, this ego. So we always investigate others, that's wrong, this is wrong, that's wrong, right? We never actually investigate our motivation ourselves, because we don't want to see our action. It's wrong. We don't want to see that, right? But what this stanza is actually saying is that those who wish to engage in the authentic Dharma need to understand the instructions on free from the four attachment, because following these instructions will help to stop bad actions that goes against the Dharma. That's why he said that behavior that goes against the Dharma must be stopped. Okay? That is Pita instruction. So here, first line, the first two lines of his song, his commentary, are the supplication, right? The seeking of the blessings. And then the second two lines here are the promise to write this text, this commentary. Okay, that's that. Because that is the promise, means like he made a commitment in front of masters and deities that I'm going to write this text so that this text will help to all sentient beings. That's why he asked the blessings from the deities and Manjushiris, all of that, right? So now the next stanza is the main topic, okay, which is the instructions for the teaching that he received directly from Manjushri, okay? That is here. Look at the number 3. If you are attached to this life, you are not true Dharma practitioner. If you are attached to cyclic existence, you do not have renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you do not have bodhicitta. If there is a grasping, you do not have the view. Sindala shinna chupaman, korala shinna ngimjoman, dagdonla shinna hyansamin, zambashona tawaman. My root teacher always saying these things, these 4 lines when they teach. So remember again, he said, Satyatakpa Johnson said that behavior that goes against the Dharma must be stopped. Okay? I think this is important topic that we have to remember constantly, and we should think about carefully, make sure, understand what is Dharma, right? That's behavior that goes against the Dharma. What is Dharma? Okay? So I'm not going to. We talked about what is Dharma and the 4 dharmas of Gambupa. If you want to know that, we have teaching that. So, but here the essence, what is Dharma, right? He must against your actions that goes against the Dharma must be stopped. So, in order to practice this, first you have to understand what is Dharma. When we think about this topic, it brings us important question, I think. That is, how can we stop our behavior that goes against Dharma? That's the question. I mean, that question, when I see this teaching, how can I stop my behavior that goes against the Dharma? And then second question is, what is Dharma? That's the thing. Okay? Then easy to answer that question is to follow these 4 lines from Manjushri. The instructions from Manjushri is how we stop behavior that goes against the Dharma. And to practice these instructions is Dharma. Okay? Right there. Answer is right there. How, I said, I made this, how can we stop our behavior that goes against Dharma? Oh, the answer is to follow these 4 lines, this instruction from Manjushri. That is how we stop behavior that goes against the Dharma. And to practice this instruction correctly, accordingly, that is Dharma. Okay, nothing else. Now, the first line, if you are attached to this life, you're not Dharma practitioner. As a Westerner, don't like to hear this teaching, I'm sure. If you are attached to this life, of course, you are not Dharma practitioner. Well, you probably you consider as yourself not Dharma practitioner. I have a wonderful life. So he is going to explain this line in detail, and the next his sort of commentary. So usually teachers give this teaching just only these four lines, the from Manjushri instruction, but Sarchitakpa Johnson also have the commentaries. I'm going to maybe helpful to you to understand how to practice these lines, 4 lines. So his commentary is also very, very helpful. So that is, look at number 4. It says the first step is non-attachment to this life, discipline, study, and meditation. Okay? But undertaking for the sake of just this life, you must put them aside, for they are not the Dharma. Now you understand? Tangbo tsindala ma jinbar, tsutamdang tusam gomba sam, tsutamdang, discipline. 2 means study, sam means contemplate, gom means meditation. Tsutamdang tusam gomba sam, tsindala mugni debate, undertaken for the sake of just this life. Chupa minji sure lashuk. Chupa minji. Chupa means, you are not Dharma practitioner. Actually, that's it. So my root teacher, Kanchen Pamatsewan, he always repeated a quote from the great Indian master Vasubandha, when he started to teach. That is, Churni Tudang Samdanbi Gumbalan Rabdajur. The Vasubandha said in his Abhidharma Kosha that on the basis of good conduct or good discipline, you must study, contemplate, and meditate correctly. Okay, this is that's from Indian master Vasubandha. So this is very similar to Takpa Janssen's this stanza right here. So this is a very important structure, and it is the sort of general sort of the structure common to all the schools, Mahayana, Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. So no matter what, you discipline, study, contemplate, meditation. That's it. That's all. That is the structure. That is the basic sort of the way you practice Buddhism. Okay. And actually it is about how to practice authentic Dharma. If we want to practice authentic Dharma, we have to give up, right? Attachments. We have to sort of eliminate, maybe that's better, attachment. But in order to eliminate attachment, we have to follow this sort of common structures. So if we are attached to the purpose of this life alone, then whatever practice of Dharma, whether of discipline, study, or meditation, this practice will become contaminated by this attachment, which is not authentic Dharma at all. That's actually, here says, So for this reason, it will be best if we try to develop an authentic Dharma. And again, I hope you are really understanding what is authentic Dharma. And once you understand authentic Dharma intellectually, then just do it. Try to, practice authentic Dharma without having sort of too much expectations. Oh, I practice this, it doesn't work, my emotions stronger, blah, blah, blah. So that's expectation. Just do it. It's so, like, as I said, correcting your motivation. On top of that, you need to understand what is authentic Dharma. Once you understand how to practice authentic Dharma, then just do it without thinking about the result. Just, you can do short time, long time. It's up to you, but just do it correctly. That's what I'm, try to say here, like correctly. Then if you do that like 1 minute authentic Dharma, then you're Dharma practitioner. If you do it, practice this authentic Dharma in an hour, you're Dharma practitioner. So short, long doesn't matter. So the quality is so important, right? And one important thing is to understand is to become a genuine Dharma practitioner. You have to think like, how do I become a genuine Dharma practitioner on the spiritual path? Remember, Kamala Shila, the Indian master, says that, and his the stages of meditation, says that it is necessary not to be overly attached to this life alone. So important. He doesn't say like it's necessarily not to be attached to this life. He said it is necessary not to be overly attached to this life alone, which means keep a simple life. Then you are not overly attached to so many things. As an ordinary person, it's very difficult to eliminate attachment, right? Today we're talking this topic, the attachment is so difficult. It's so difficult. Even like we don't recognize what is really attachment. Especially, attachment to people, I think. It's so difficult to eliminate attachment, when you attach to people. And you would think, that if you are not attached to your children, you are not a good parent, you believe it, right? If you are not attached to your friend, you are not a good friend. If you are not attached to your partner, you are not a good partner. That's normally people think, people believe. Whoever is, this person you are attached to makes you happy. This person you are attached to, gives you comfort, etc. So many reasons. And then you say, so why? Why do I want to eliminate my attachment to this person who is so important in my life? Why? Why do I eliminate that? Don't make no sense. Buddhists say attachment is the root of suffering. You must give up, must abandon your attachment. That's not true, right? As Westerners, I think they think that because this person makes me happy, this person makes me comfort. Why do I eliminate that? I want that, right? You might think that, right? But the thing, I always say this, we have this fish love, right? Fish love. You don't love the fish. You attach to the fish because it tastes good when you eat it. right? And then you say, I love fish. And think about this. Why am I attached to these people? Why? Think about yourself there. Why am I attached to these people? Because they make me feel good, right? They make me feel good because they like my ideas. They like we're getting getting along with these people, getting along with me. So that means I'm a good person. You see, your attachment also bring arrogance right there. I am a good person because these people I attach to, because they like me. They like my things, my ideas, my, uh, they think I'm a funny. They think I am a happy person. So if these people don't give you this kind of good feeling, you don't attach to them, right? You don't like them then. So actually, you're not attached to these people, but you are attached to your good feelings that they give you. So that also means you are attached to yourself, because the bottom line is the selfishness, right? So that's the thing. So then as long as you have this kind of attachment, it brings arrogance, it brings also like division, it brings confusion, means you have an ordinary mind who is not free, that it is not free, contaminated by attachment and selfish, right? Selfish. So that's why attachment is the root of suffering. But it's difficult to identify between, you see, love and attachment. We are so just, mingled, these two, like love and attachment, mixed all the time. We don't recognize what is different between attachment and love. If you think like, if I'm not attached to my children, that means I'm sort of uh, given up, I don't care them. No, you, of course, that's your responsibility. You care your children, but care them with your love, not attachment. So the difference between a relationship with true love and relationship with attachment is that in a relationship with attachment, you care for others because you expect them to take care of you. You give something that you um, attach to them. That means they give you something that you want. So basically, you don't care them. When you are attached to others, you have many expectations of them. We know that, right? So attachment is actually taking, just means you're not taking care of others. So therefore, it is not going to be easy to eliminate attachment. It is difficult for a person who experience non-attachment with the ordinary mind. But we definitely can reduce attachment through this kind of practice. Okay? That's for sure. And then eventually, probably we can eliminate attachment completely. But we are attached to everything, right? So as I said, attached to people is the most, I think, difficult one. Property is okay. We can give up that. But you have to know this. Attachment, give up attachment means not really give up your people, your belong, your property, not like that. People, lots of people, I will tell you more of these things, but lots of people misunderstand that. Give up attachment means work with your mind. Nothing has to do with actually outside of your mind. But we just don't know that, right? We don't do that. So we are attached to everything. Most of us sort of desire comfort and pleasure. Therefore, you work very hard to obtain sort of these things, and you go through so much difficult to get them, right? That's okay. That's fine. That's what it. That's why what we call samsara. That's okay. But the problem is, once you have everything, but you're still not satisfied with what you have. You want more, more, more. I think that's the problem. Then your attachment and your suffering has no end, no end. You're making, so you are creating more and more this habit with your mind. So that's why if you practice Dharma, it helps. That's why Kamala Shila said, don't touch overly everything, You need what you have, right? So how do we practice Dharma free from attachment? It is true that we are attached to this life's purpose alone, then we are not an authentic Dharma practitioner. And a very big sort of obstacle to succeed on the path of liberation is our attachment, right? So how should we eliminate attachment to this life? There are many ways. There are lots of antidotes, it's difficult, but for sure, it is not something that completely beyond our capacity. We need to use sort of good method, right? Good strategy in order to sort of reduce your attachment. The first thing is we have to recognize what is attachment. What is the defect of attachment? First, we have to that's why it says study, discipline, study is the first, right? So you have to study what is attachment. Once you recognize attachment, then the next thing is what is the antidote, the proper antidote. You have to sort of study that, right? In Tibet, we say Goram means like practice stages, right? It is so important to take the meditation stages in order to practice in authentic Dharma. So first, you have to really practice easy things, very simple things. Then slowly you can reduce your attachment, which is the way you think, where you relate it to the world. It will change. There are many antidotes. Sometimes the Hanayanas, like they say, in order to reduce eliminate your attachment, practice impermanence of life, and all of that kind of things. And then we have this, Dzogchen teachings. You recognize the nature mind, so that everything sort of appears as the manifestation of your nature mind. There's no room. There's nothing like no such thing as attachment. If you recognize, there are many antidotes, but here, the way you practice, reduce the attachment is discipline, study, contemplate, meditation. That's all Satchitapajans want to follow this kind of stages. That's why this teaching, he talks about how to take the stages of practice. Okay? Like, by engaging in positive discipline, which is, which is to begin with the practice of taking refuge in the Buddha, right? After that, once the discipline of sort of refuge practice has taken root and foundation, then the next you should focus mind training sort of practice, such as practice the four thoughts that change the mind, and like bodhicitta practice that makes your meditation alive, and so on. So you have to take this kind of stages properly, because through this practice, you can slowly understand, makes sense. This makes sense. This attachment is not good. Attachment is the root of suffering. You understand that slowly, then slowly you can abandon and reduce your attachment, means less attachment. Not completely, but less. Because the more you practice these teachings, more you see the defect of attachment. Okay, but here again, there are two possibilities, right? Always. One is practicing genuinely, authentically, right? And accord with the Dharma. And the other is superficial, artificial. You do these things, pujas, prayers, blah, 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 but nothing really hits your mind, right? So then you consider as your Dharma, great Dharma practitioner. That is superficial. So there are two things, two sort of possibilities. So we should take the first one, genuine, practice genuinely, So that I think we must first sort of distinguish between these two. It's really important. Am I a good Dharma practitioner, or am I not? If not, then what I need to do? So this kind of things very important, so that we will know what to adopt or what to abandon. For this reason, again, investigate your motivation is the key. Okay, I'm going to stop right there for today. So again, pardon for attachment. It's not easy. It's very difficult. It's very difficult, but we can do it. It's not sort of beyond our capacity. You should not think that. So really, actually, if you understand completely the attachment, why am I attached to? What is attachment? What is authentic Dharma? How do I practice authentic Dharma? If you know all of that, then I think at least we can reduce attachment. I mean, I personally, I have lots of attachment, but I can reduce my attachment. That's from my own experience. Okay, so you can reduce attachment. It's actually good when you reduce attachment. You feel really like everything is like open. I feel like everything is okay. If you are attached to very like somebody or something strongly, then it brings you very strong worry and anxiety because of your attachment. So, tight, if you reduce sort of like when you have a very bad headache, and you take aspirin and kind of like you little bit getting better and you kind of, so good. But that's kind of things. If you reduce your attachment, okay, I don't worry about this part now. So it gives you really this freedom, Okay, so yeah, so just really think about your these teachings are not just you know um, you know something you just listen, just only listen, but you really sort of bring them into your personal life. Is so important. So don't worry about like how he said that. That doesn't make sense. Or this teaching don't like that. You should bring that teaching into your life. So then, like, how do I practice this? So that's what we call contemplation, right? And then once you know, then you kind of meditate. So now we're going to meditate for a few minutes. We're talking about discipline. Discipline is important. So now, discipline what? Discipline mind, our mind, which is recognize your thoughts with mindfulness. Okay, we'll meditate for a few minutes this, and then relax, right? So breathe in, breathe out. At the same time, recognize your distractions, your thoughts, then relax. Which is not following them, okay? But just to recognize whatever is happening in your mind, right? Close your eyes, really sort of focus on your mindfulness and recognize what is going on in your mind this moment, this point. Just to look and see what is there. What is there? What is there? But main thing is not follow them, okay? Do you understand? Just see what is there and then try to relax with your awareness, okay? Relax. So if you want, you can breathe in, relax and recognize, breathe out, let go, sort of, So continue meditate it for a few minutes, please. Let's, for 5 minutes.